Finding balance, the art of giving and taking in relationships. I came across this quote today, and it motivated this article. The quote, "You have to remember that not everyone is going to be as giving as you are. When you give your entire heart without thinking while they are only giving you a piece of their own," is a poignant reminder of the varying degrees of generosity that exist within individuals. This quote highlights the fact that while some people may be extremely giving, others may only be able to offer a small portion of what is expected of them. It is important to recognize that everyone has their own set of circumstances and limitations, which may affect their ability to give. Some people may be struggling with personal issues, while others may simply lack the financial means to be as generous as they would like to be. It is crucial to approach each person with empathy and understanding, rather than expecting them to match your level of giving. According to a study published in the journal Social Psychological and Personality Science, people who are generous and giving tend to have higher levels of life satisfaction and happiness. However, this does not mean that everyone should strive to be as giving as possible, as this may not be feasible or even healthy in certain situations. Furthermore, the study also found that individuals who were deemed overgivers were more likely to experience burnout and stress, which can have negative impacts on their mental health and overall well-being. Therefore, it is important to strike a balance between giving and taking, and to recognize one's own limitations and needs. When it comes to relationships, whether they be romantic, platonic, or familial, it is important to remember that each person has their own unique way of expressing love and affection. Some people may be more vocal or physically affectionate, while others may prefer to show their love through acts of service or gift-giving. It is crucial to communicate openly and honestly with your loved ones about your expectations and needs, while also respecting their own personally set boundaries and limitations. When you find someone who shares a similar level of generosity and compassion as yourself, it is important to cherish and nurture that connection. It can be difficult to determine whether someone is as giving as you are before getting to know them. However, there are certain signs and behaviors that may indicate that they have different priorities or levels of generosity. Here are some things to look out for. Lack of initiative. If someone rarely takes the initiative to plan outings or activities, or always waits for you to make the first move, they may not be as invested in the relationship as you are. Self-centeredness. If someone frequently talks about themselves and their own needs without asking about yours or showing interest in your life, they may not be as giving or empathetic as you are. Unresponsiveness. If someone consistently fails to respond to your messages or calls in a timely manner, or seems disinterested in maintaining communication, they may not be as committed to the relationship as you are. Lack of reciprocity. If someone never offers to pay for meals or drinks, or consistently accepts your generosity without reciprocating, they may not value giving and receiving equally. Prioritizing other relationships. If someone consistently chooses to spend time with other friends or family members over you, or seems more invested in other relationships, they may not be as invested in your relationship as you are. It is important to keep in mind that everyone has their own unique set of circumstances and limitations, and it may not be fair to expect someone to match your level of giving. However, if you consistently feel undervalued or unappreciated in a relationship, it may be time to reevaluate whether it is a healthy and fulfilling connection for you. Before writing off a relationship, it's important to take some time to reflect and evaluate the situation. Here are some steps you can take before deciding to end the relationship. Communicate. Often misunderstandings and conflicts arise due to a lack of communication. Before writing off the relationship, try to communicate with the other person and express your concerns. Ask them how they feel about the situation and see if there is a way to work through the issues together. Consider the other person's perspective. It's important to consider the other person's point of view and understand their motivations and reasons for behaving the way they do. This can help you gain a better understanding of the situation and find a way to resolve any issues. Set boundaries. If you feel that the relationship is not healthy, or that the other person is not treating you well, it's important to set personal boundaries for yourself. You cannot set another person's boundaries. Let the other person know what you are and are not comfortable with, and make it clear what behavior is acceptable and what is not. Evaluate the relationship. Take some time to reflect on the relationship as a whole. Consider the positive aspects of the relationship as well as the negative ones. Ask yourself if the relationship is worth saving, and if so, what changes need to be made to improve it. Seek advice. If you are struggling to make a decision about the relationship, consider seeking advice from a trusted friend or family member, or even a professional therapist. They can offer an outside perspective and help you gain clarity on the situation. Asking the person's friends for their opinion can be a helpful way to gain some insight into the situation. Friends often have a unique perspective on the person and the relationship, and may be able to offer helpful advice or feedback. However, it's important to approach this with caution. Friends may have their own biases and may not be fully aware of the situation, so their opinion should be taken with a grain of salt. Additionally, it's important to respect the other person's privacy and not share any personal or confidential information without their consent. If you do decide to ask the person's friends for their opinion, be sure to approach the conversation with an open mind and avoid making assumptions or jumping to conclusions. Ask them to share their thoughts and feelings about the relationship and the person, and listen to their feedback with an open heart and mind. Ultimately, the decision about the future of the relationship should be based on your own thoughts, feelings, and experiences, and not solely on the opinions of others. While seeking input from others can be helpful, it's important to remember that you are the one who knows the situation best and must make the final decision. Remember, before writing off a relationship, it's important to communicate with the other person, consider their perspective, set boundaries, evaluate the relationship as a whole, and seek advice if needed. By taking these steps, you can make a more informed decision about the future of the relationship. In conclusion, the quote, "You have to remember that not everyone is going to be as giving as you are," serves as a valuable reminder to approach each person with empathy and understanding, rather than expecting them to match your level of generosity. It is important to strike a balance between giving and taking, and to recognize one's own limitations and needs. When you find someone who shares a similar level of generosity and compassion as yourself, it is important to cherish and nurture that connection.